Hi everyone, this is Mindy Eggen for Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine, and today I'm going to be creating with the Let's Stamp Together kit for May 2026 featuring products from Altenew. And the card that I'm going to be creating today is very unique in that we are going to be creating it out of acetate. It's really hard to photograph, but it is amazing in person. So let me show you how I did that. So let's take a look at the kit itself. And it comes with your insert card with all of your information. Then we also have the stamp set, which has this beautiful floral image on here and lovely sentiments. Scrapbook and Cards Today puts a magnet in there. We have a stencil and then your coordinating dies for the image and there's two sentiments that will cut out with the coordinating die. So the first thing that I'm going to do is stamp my image. And I'm going to do one of my favorite go-to techniques when it comes to stamping images and then coloring it in with a stencil. And that is I'm bringing out my Stamp Wheel 2.0. I have a piece of white cardstock cut to 5.5 by 8.5. I placed my stamp onto the cardstock and then I'll pick that up with the top plate of the stamp wheel. Now, what I'm going to do is ink this up with Morning Frost. So it is a really nice light gray ink. I am going to be leaving my stamp in its place and come back in after I stencil and stamp it with black ink. Now, the reason I'm doing this is sometimes I may not wait long enough for the black ink to dry if I were to stamp it first in black ink. And when I go to ink blend, I find that I may contaminate my colors by smearing the ink. So this is kind of a fail safe for me by stamping it in that light gray ink first. Notice I did place my cardstock tucked into the bottom corner. So that way when I'm done stenciling, I can bring it back to that exact place and re-stamp it. And you'll see that here when I'm done ink blending. I placed my cardstock down onto my 9 by 12 sticky mat to hold my cardstock in place, and then I have my stencil. The stencil actually has etchings on it. There's also divider lines because we need to kind of shift this to create layers. So A1, which is going to be the most open area of the flower, I am going to be starting off with the Lapis Lazuli, I think it's called. It's a collection of 4 shades of blue from Altenew. I'm starting with the lightest color, which is Iceberg. And I am using some of these small blending brushes to apply that ink. Before I move on from this layer of the stencil, I am going to come in with Eastern Sky and just add a little bit of that down towards the bottom or the edge of each of those flowers. I'm going to pick up my stencil and shift it to the next area. And this is going to be creating some more flowers. I know it's the first layer for these particular flowers because it is the most open area of the stencil. I'm using those same colors as I did in the first ones, starting with the Iceberg and then coming in with the mini blending brush to add the Eastern Sky just on one edge or the bottom edge of each of those. I shifted the stencil again. This is going to be adding the first layer of the flowers. There's actually 2 layers to this if we want to look at the details. This one I started with Eastern Sky using a mini blending brush. So the smaller the area is going to determine the size of the brush for me. This doesn't have a lot of open areas, so I am using the mini blending brushes for this. Now on this particular layer, I started with Eastern Sky and then stepped it up a little bit with the ultramarine. So that's just giving it a little bit of gradient. I love doing that with my layering stencils. Now, the last layer for this flower that's adding a little bit more detail, I stepped up to azurite. Now I moved on to the leaves. So again, this is the most open area of the stencil. So it's the first layer for the leaves. I am going to be using the Green Meadows collection. The first color, which is the lightest color in it, is going to be Minty Mint. Now this section also has the centers for the flowers. So I am just placing some Post-it tape over that. And then I'm coming in back with that small blending brush and adding that light shade of green. I am fading off as I get towards the edge of the leaves. So it kind of has a very, very light application of that color. But of course, I'm going to step it up again. I stepped up to Sweet Leaf, so it is a shade darker, only going maybe about halfway compared to what I did before. And then I'll step it up one more time, and this is going to be just green. Now, of course, you do not have to add this many layers of color, but I think it takes our images to a whole new level when we do add all of that shading in there. So this one again, I used a mini blending brush for because the areas started getting smaller. I wiped away any excess ink off of my stencil, removed those post-it tape that was covering my centers, and then I'm bringing in pumpkin pie from the Fall Harvest collection. Now, we do have one little section in there that's kind of tucked in between the leaves, and I figure that may be a little bit darker. Plus, I wanted to just give it some contrast between the two greens. So, I am going to be adding the just green and then coming in with a micro blending brush and adding the hunter green, which is the darkest color. Now, as we shift the stencil and move it so we're adding the details to our leaves, I'm going to be starting with just green. So I'm starting off pretty bold once again using a mini blending brush. This one again, I'm starting kind of towards the center or towards where the flowers would be. And as I blend out, I get little bit lighter handed when it comes to the blending. Then stepping it up to hunter green, again, still on this same layer. And I'm going to be using a micro blending brush. There's actually two sizes in the micro blending brush set. This is the larger of the two, but because it is so small, it does help me focus that color so I'm not getting too far out with it. Again, I'm going to wipe away any excess ink using a paper towel, and I'm going to add the detail to the centers. And this color is going to be the yellow ochre from the Fall Harvest collection. Another thing I like about stamping in a light gray ink first is that it gives it a beautiful no line coloring look. So it looks almost watercolor-ish or artistic. It just has a very different feel to it compared to when we add the black outline. But I did bring this back over to my stamp wheel, tucked it down in that bottom corner just like I did before. This time I'm adding a sentiment in there because I figured if I'm going to be stamping in black ink, I might as well add a sentiment. So I inked that up really well with the obsidian ink, and then I'm going to stamp this down. If you wanted to practice, you could always place a piece of acetate over the top of this to make sure that you're lining it up correctly. Obsidian ink is a pigment ink and takes a little while to dry. So once I clean my stamp, I'm going to set that off on the side and work on a small background. This is a panel of white cardstock that I have cut to 3 by 4 1/4, and I'm going to be ink blending with the ultramarine using a large blending brush. I'm starting heavy handed on one end and then have it fade off as it gets to the other corner. So you could really have just a piece of blue cardstock, but again, I love giving it that gradient. So here is where I'm bringing in the azurite to really deepen up that corner. My flower is going to be stretched across most of it, but I still love having that gradient back there. Off screen, I use the coordinating die to die cut out the flower and also the sentiment. I die cut out the flower twice, but I'm only going to layer it once to add a little bit of stability to the image. The other one I'm going to save for my card project. And the sentiment I die cut out 2 more times from white cardstock and layered that together. Now I can start working on my actual card. So I have a piece of acetate. This is actually from Lawn Fawn, but I know other companies do actually create acetate card bases. My acetate is cut to 5.5 by 8.5, and I am scoring it at 4 1/4. So I am creating a side folding card base. Then I'm going to try and fold that in half as best as I can. I'm going to bend it along that score line and then take a bone folder and really press down to make that a nice crisp edge. Now we're going to be taking a piece of white cardstock cut to 4 1/4 by 5.5, and maybe just a smidge smaller than that, depending on how it fits into your fold. I'm adding tape runner behind that and I'm placing that inside of my acetate card base. So this is going to be the piece that they would actually write a message on. Now we're going to fix this on the back because if you flip it over, you'll see the tape, but we'll get to that. I'm taking my ink blended panel and I added tape runner to the back of that. I'm placing that on the front of my acetate card base. Now I'm going to take my flower. I am adding some liquid glue to that. I'm going to place that again on the front of my card, kind of having it hang off of the edge a little bit. And once I let that sit for a little bit, I'm going to take another piece of white cardstock cut to 4 1/4 by 5.5. I added tape under that, and that's going on the back of the card. So that's going to cover the tape that you would have seen if we had flipped that over. So that's kind of hiding all of those little secrets of ours with the acetate card base. I'm taking my shears and I'm going to trim off any excess that's hanging off of the edge of my flower. Now, when we open this up, we're actually going to see the tape and everything from the inside. So to make this look a little nicer, I'm using that extra piece of the coordinating die for the flower. I added some liquid glue to that, and I'm adding that to the back of the cover of our acetate. Then I'm going to open it up and trim off that excess. It's a lot easier to trim these kind of individually versus all at once because it can get pretty thick. I'm adding liquid glue to the back of the flower and on that panel because now we need to hide that as well. And here I have a piece of dazzling diamond glitter cardstock cut to 3¼ by 4½. So a little bit bigger than my originally ink blended panel. I was not 100% sure if that liquid glue was going to hold with the acetate on the glitter cardstock. So I was kind of testing that with the liquid glue. It seems to be doing really well. And then I went ahead and added my sentiment on the front. Now, after I had filmed and let my card sit, I did notice the liquid glue was not holding very well with the acetate and the glitter cardstock. So you might want to try either some foam squares to pop it up or just some double-sided tape. But because I also have that piece of cardstock in there to kind of cover the imperfections of the flower, it is going to hold together well for me. But now we have this beautiful card with the floral image on the front. It's kind of see-through, and yet you can write your message that's going to be hidden behind that panel that we ink blended and added the glitter cardstock to. It's just something a little bit different. It is gorgeous in person. Pictures are really hard to capture how unique this type of card design is. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope this card has inspired you in creating with your Let's Stamp Together kit.